everybody. How you guys doing this evening?
Hey everyone.
So, how's your week been? Aline, it's been kind of crazy.
My week has been crazy. It's definitely been a little challenging, especially for tonight's show. How about you?
Yeah, but it's always crazy for me. So,
Yeah.
I do want to say that I did try the Lip Sense lipstick tonight, and I kind of like it because it hasn't come off on any of my glasses I was drinking from or my kids. So, my kids really like it.
Yes, and you can actually get that from where? Where can you get that from?
Um, Beauty Muse, and we can again put it on the link at this show. It
That's
is,
awesome.
yes, yes, yeah.
So I do want to tell you that you look really great. So the lipstick looks really, really good. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you. I get excited about makeup because, I'm the only
For
girl
sure.
here. I'm the only
For sure.
girl here in this house. And speaking of girls and boys, we have some boys, some
We
fathers
have
coming up.
a ginormous section of boys, which actually I just would like to say, it has been a challenge. So tonight's show is all about dads. We decided to cut all the moms out and to make this all about dads and dads being able to tell us exactly how they feel parenting, either co-parenting, married, single parenting, whatever it is that they're doing. And with that being said, it was a little bit of a challenge to get some of you guys to come on. I do get that everybody works, but we definitely need more dads to want to voice their opinions about fatherhood.
Yeah, and it helps us moms because sometimes when our husbands hear it or our, significant other, the children's, whoever we have children with, it doesn't,
We don't
uh,
get it. We don't get how
yeah,
you feel. That's just the truth.
no,
We don't understand it. You don't talk about your feelings. You don't say how you feel. We can tell when you're cranky, but other than
yeah.
that, we don't know how you feel about things unless you voice it. So tonight is the perfect night. So I hope all of you ladies that have tuned in tonight are not here to just disagree with the men, but to actually hear how they feel about parenting.
Okay.
Tell them about part two. Tell them about
Yeah.
part two.
Oh, yes. Part two. We're having we're having a second part of dads on Saturday that wasn't able to participate tonight about the subjects, and we can even touch on subjects that how they feel that we're talking about tonight also.
Yes.
Oh, Michelle, look how Nedfield asked if Easy's in charge tonight. I'm kind of scared right now because my house is really quiet and I sent them all up to bed, but that doesn't usually meet.
They might have gone to sleep. We'll just cross our fingers and hope that the roof doesn't come tumbling down.
Yeah. Well,
But
without
I would like to say to thank you for all the dads who didn't even inquire about the show. Some of you guys couldn't make it because of jobs and things like that. So I think like really, giving a shout out and thanks to all the dads that did try to make it is huge, and making sure that you guys tune in for part two.
yeah, my
Part
husband
one is Yeah, for sure. Part one is going to be great. We're going to open this up and have like this big powwow of being able to hear these dads talk. But I feel like the more and more we hear it, the more and more we see it, the more familiarized we'll become with it.
yeah. And my husband was work second shift, so he's not able to make it tonight, but he is coming on Saturday.
Oh, I'm so ready for that one.
Yeah. I'll let you go, Adam. I'll let you
No, I'm going to let you go at him. This is going to be fun for me to watch.
Okay, so let's bring up all the guys. We're gonna bring them up.
Before we introduce them, make sure you like, comment, and share this live, okay?
Yes, please, please. So let's bring up. We will. Oh, yep, there we go. Is everybody up
Oh, do
here?
we get to pick who goes first without them knowing? Are we just going to do like Russian roulette? Is this fun?
I think so.
I'm
I
ready.
think
Let's do any, mini, miny, mo.
yes. So anyone want it? Let's see if they'll volunteer. Oh, Tom volunteered.
No, that's like the opposite of what happened. You guys don't play nose goes around here? Come on.
No, no, no. Usually that's when I tell my kids. Um. Yeah. Usually that's when we tell our kids Bring them on, Tiffany Baker. You may know her,
She
Tom.
said, "Bring on the men." Okay, girl.
Um, you are a principal at a school, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
What school?
And thank you,
Um,
Tiffany. I love you, Tiff.
I am the principal at Epsola Creative Arts in Kenosha. It's the elementary school 4K through fifth grade. Prior to that, I was actually the directing principal, and prior to that, the assistant principal at Jersey Home, originally middle school and then K-8 school here in Racine.
Oh, wow. Okay. You might know a few of my nieces.
Most likely.
So tell us just a little bit about yourself, Tom. How many kids do you have?
I have 3 kids. My oldest is Olivia. She's 10 years old. She's in 5th grade. My middle is Leo. He's in 2nd grade. He's 7 years old. And then my youngest is Peter. He's about to turn 4 in early January. So obviously not school age.
Which is okay because right now that keeps it kind of safe, right? With the whole
Yes.
COVID thing. Are you guys
Yeah.
in session? Like, is your school that you work at like in session at this time?
We were originally we were split in person and virtual. Families had the choice in Kenosha for the first 2.5 months of school, but the school board recently put us into all virtual starting November 30th, and we're going back in person right now. The plan is to go back in person for families that choose so on January 11th.
Okay.
So it's been different. It's been a different experience than what my kids are going through. Work and home life has been just 2 different worlds.
For sure, for sure. Do you have anything that you want to chime in with, Missy?
No, I mean, I've known Tom since middle school. And when we decided to do this show and we were thinking of dads, and I'm like racking my brain of, who would want to come on and who would really make an influence in coming on, he was one of the people that I thought of.
All right, well, then let the games begin. Let's roll the next guy so we can
All
get everybody
right.
introduced.
Yes, yes.
Good
Alex
to have you,
or
Tom. I
Brad.
definitely have a lot of questions. I just want to hold them
I'll go.
forever.
All right, I'll let Brad go. We'll have Brad come, and then Alex
Hello.
can come last in the hot seats.
Hello.
Hi.
You're in the hot seat now.
Nice.
So tell us about you. How many kids do you have, Brad?
So I'm Brad. I have 2 kids. My youngest son is 9. His name's Dean. And then I have a 15-year-old named Theo, who goes by Ted.
Are they all are you in the Racine area or are you out
Yeah,
of
I'm on the north side of Racine, kind of by like Wind Point area.
Okay.
Yeah, and then my oldest son, Theo, he lives with me full time. And then my younger son, I have a shared placement schedule with him.
Oh, that'll be fun to dig into.
Yeah, Theo's here all the
definitely be
time. And then my girlfriend, Lisa, lives here as well.
Awesome. That's awesome. So you have a nice blended family.
Yeah, for sure. It's good.
Well, does Lisa have any of her own children as well, or?
She does not, no.
Oh, okay. So that's that's nice.
Yeah, I can't wait to ask a few about those because I was in that situation.
Have to intertwine a little.
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. So, do you want to disclose what you do for work, or not really? It's up to you.
Sure. I'm an engineering manager at a company called Yaskawa. It's a Japanese company in Oak Creek, and I run the engineers for the medium voltage drives department. So I don't know if that means a lot of people.
How many 6 a.m. meetings are you meeting for?
None at 6 a.m. Luckily, I don't like to start that early, but like today, for example, I'm working from home right now, and today, for example, I had a lot of meetings. I had to go to the plant around 1 for a couple meetings, and then back here to continue working. It's definitely different working from home, especially managing a team and stuff, and communication, calling people regularly, and emails, and it's interesting that working from home, you get like 10 times as many emails, especially ones where people are saying like thank you or something like that. It's a different ball game to work with, I guess you could say. And then I also teach part-time as an adjunct professor at Gateway Technical College, some engineering courses. So.
Oh, that's nice. That's really nice. definitely pass it on to the youth, right? So they can up and coming.
He
Yeah,
should
for
be
sure.
doing a carpentry course as well. If you look at any of his posts, he's always making furniture for his house. It really makes me kind of jealous.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I do a
I
lot
love
of
that.
carpentry and crafts and stuff like that. So
That's
I have a
awesome.
huge bar project, a bar top project that I'm working on in my garage right now. So
So do you do just a lot of woodwork with your crafts, or do you also use like some resin and epoxy and kind of make it all nice and shiny?
yeah, well, the bar top is for somebody else that I'm working on in my garage right now. It's sort of an L-shaped bar. It's a live edge wood slab. Well, two of them, and I'll be burning Lichtenberg patterns into it.
Oh, okay.
The 20,000 volt neon sign transformer. So it's kind of like fractal patterns that burn into it, and then I'll.
Oh no, I think he froze.
Oh, I thought I froze. Good thing I
No,
didn't do anything
froze.
stupid, y'all.
I think he might have to log in and log back out. Let's bring Alex up.
All right, Alex, you're in the hot seat.
I'm not nearly as impressive or as accomplished in my careers as the prior two gentlemen.
Everything is an accomplishment. Let me just say that. Okay, I'm currently sitting here like with no socks on and a little thing between my toe after foot surgery, and that's an accomplishment for me. So,
Oh snap!
yeah.
I guess your first question for everybody else was how many kids do you have?
Yes. How
Um,
many kids do you have?
Initially, I had planned to be ridiculous and be like, I have three, one of each, but that's kind of not, I don't know, sensitive to how we live in today, and yeah, that anyway. I have two kids though. I have a daughter, Ari, who's 19, who lives with me in my house, and it is not big enough for the two of us. And and I have a son, Christian, who is 17, who lives in Pacific Washington with his mom.
Wow. Okay.
This
Okay.
is
So do you get to
Chime
see
In.
him at all? That he lives in Washington?
Yeah, he's flying to Wisconsin to hang out the day after Christmas for a week.
Okay. I'm sorry. I had a little technical difficulty. So he gets to come down for Christmas, you said?
Yeah, right after Christmas he's gonna come. He'll be here for New Year's, I believe.
Oh, that's nice. So you do get to spend some of that time with him.
Yeah, he's trying to party. That's what it is.
Yeah. And how old is
His
he
mom won't
again?
let him. 17.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, he's at that age right now. Where
How
it's
tall
kind
is
of,
Yeah.
he now? How tall
well,
is he now,
first
Alex?
of all, guys at that age, you guys are so much different
Oh yes,
than
yes,
girls
yes,
are.
yes. I remember. Um,
So do you want to disclose what you do for work, or if you don't want to, that's okay
sure,
too.
sure. I have two jobs. I drive a dump truck for my primary job, and then I play music for a secondary thing. Sometimes I, get paid. Sometimes not so much. But
So
um,
Olivia, or someone says hi, Dada. I don't know who
Hey,
that was.
Tom, Olivia says hi, Dada.
all right.
Okay.
Um,
At first, I thought someone was making a pass at you, but go on ahead. That's okay.
right. It's not even your turn.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, mostly I just drive dump trucks, so it pays
Hey,
pretty
that's
well.
actually an accomplishment. I don't know why you don't think that's an accomplishment, because you're literally on the road all day. Like that's like one of the hardest jobs, I think. And then not only that, you have to deal with like crazy ass people. I'm ready to like get out of my car at least 30 times a day just driving around Racine because people don't know how to drive right. And I'm like, you know what? This is it. Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Give me your license. Go park it to the side. It just, so I could just imagine what you go through being on the road all the time for sure.
Ron
Ron,
says parties and staying up on New Year's Eve watching Guns N' Roses and videos in my living room.
what's funny, and hey, Ron, how's it going? I actually, I met Ron as a teenager going to the exact same middle school that Mr. Tuttle used to be the administrator of before I got kicked out for having M80s. But he
Oh my God.
he Ron's bringing up when we were kids. What I was talking to you about the other day, Missy, about we hung out that New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. Ron is an OG friend. What up, Ron?
I do want to
That's
say one
awesome.
thing.
I'm like, everybody knows him. I just met him, but yeah.
He's
everybody
Mr.
knows him.
Racine. That's Mr. Racine.
One thing I do have to,
Him and
one
JJ
of the
McCullough.
girls from my mom's group, they all know me as Melissa. And I said, I've been Missy for my whole life. So you can attest that that's what I went by until I went to school and I wanted to be accomplished and not a little kid anymore. And then I became Melissa.
So everybody called her Missy. Okay. I mean, I didn't know where it was coming from. She just one day was like, Elaine, when we do this show, call me Missy. And I'm like, okay. So like when I talk to people about her, I'm like, do I say Missy or do I say Melissa? Like, it's just like this like weird thing. But now that we've kind of introduced everybody, let's bring all the guys on here so I can ask away. I'm ready.
All right.
Sorry, I dropped off there for a minute. My son was playing PlayStation. I think it messed up my connection. I told him to stop.
Priorities.
You will always be Missy to us. Tiffany
She's
Baker.
one of the kids from the neighborhood. So
Right next
she
door.
knew. Yes.
So you all grew up. You were born and raised in Racine, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
Wow,
No.
I am the outsider today.
No. I wasn't born there, but
You were born in
So where were
California,
you
right?
born?
yeah, San Diego.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm not that far off. I mean, a little bit, but not that far. I was born and raised in Texas. So coming up here and everybody knowing everybody and it being a smaller city and everybody knowing who everybody's family, like that was all new to me. That was all new to me. Now I'm kind of acclimated. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's Tiffany, Shauna's brothers, cousins, sisters, baby daddy. Like it's all like intertwined. So now it's like I understand now.
Racine is the biggest small town on the face of the planet.
Yeah.
Or the
Brad
south.
knows this one apparently.
What's that?
Brad
Yeah, thanks,
apparently
Ron.
knows this story from Ron.
That's my old band.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that's your
Oh, I
band.
was just saying,
Hi, Ron, by the way.
Ron's sending subliminal messages.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to jump in and I want to say, okay, so you have a blended family, Brad. Tom, you don't have a blended family, right? It's you and your wife with your kids.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, and then you are co-parenting in some sense, Alex, with your ex, right?
Right. And I had the
Okay.
blended family thing, but I'm kind of okay not being in it anymore.
Yeah.
You grew up in a blended family though.
I did. It was weird, you know. Somebody always feels like the odd man out, and it's not as though I didn't try, but there are just some bonds that I couldn't form with the stepkids that I naturally had with my own kids. Not that's not to say that I didn't include them in everything, and
For sure.
you know, but it's sometimes just, you know, you try to get that bond in there. For whatever reason, unfortunately, they were being coached by their actual father's family to be combative, but
Okay.
it's it's a mess. Yeah, it was bad. it was
So
nasty.
I actually have a question for all three of you guys. If there was something that you guys would like to tell either your ex-wives, wives, just the mother of your children, right? If there's something that you could like really just pinpoint to really say to the mother of your children of like how you feel sometimes parenting, what would be something that comes to mind as a dad? Because I feel like dad's feelings are overlooked a lot of times. To moms, we kind of get like this territorial weird shit that goes on, and we're like, these are my kids, they came from me, they're mine, they're this. But really, should be told, like they are just as much yours too. So sometimes that battle, even in marriages, even in relationships, sometimes that battle is like bumping heads sometimes. So like if you really could say like this sometimes makes me feel this way as a dad, what would it be that you would want to say? And I'm going to pick someone to go first to put in the damn hot seat. And I'm picking Tom. Come on, Tom.
Man, you put your finger on your nose one time and you just get picked on all night. Honestly, I just got to be straight. I got to count my blessings every single day. I mean, my wife has gives me so much grace.
That's good.
You know, like my choice of the way that I go about my job puts a lot of time into it. And then the last year and a half, you know, transferring to down to Kenosha and working while we're living on the north side also. North side of Racine, that is like that adds another hour of work onto my day just by traveling to and from work. So the thing that I would just say to her is, you know, honestly, the first thing that I would just say is thank you. And I know how lucky I am to be able to say that and to be able to have that be the
Where's
approach.
Miss Tuttle at? Congratulations, Miss Tuttle. That's really
But like,
awesome. That's awesome.
yeah, but from like a dad perspective of things, you know, I don't think there's much that I don't say to her.
Okay.
That's one of the things that I would say we're pretty solid at, is just that communication, but just keep up with that grace, you know, because God knows that I need it. All my imperfections shine through on a daily basis, and she kind of fills in the gaps for us.
That is
His
really
wife is
awesome.
chiming in right now.
Oh, look at you. Okay, Katie, I see you, girl. But I think
Why are you
that's
on here,
wonderful,
Tom? You should be
guys.
over there rubbing feet.
Yeah. No, I really do. I think that that's wonderful. And Katie, I just want to say this from another mom to another mom. I really think that that's awesome that you give him the platform to open up and tell you how he feels as a dad. That's awesome, and that gives you an extra point as a mom and a woman and a wife as well. And I know that this answer is going to be different for everyone because I feel like it's like that for Tom because he's in that relationship, as to where when you are estranged or not with each other anymore, that feeling becomes different because then you don't want to always say things to rub the other person the wrong way, especially after divorce or separation or, you know, things like that. So, Brad, I'm going to ask you next. If there was something that you would like to express that sometimes you kind of hold back that you typically don't say just because it's like, you know, your ex or, you know, with your son or even your first child, right? That you have full placement of, am I getting this right? You had full placement of your first child,
Yeah,
right?
my oldest son Theo
Okay.
lives with me
Yeah.
full time, and then my
Yeah.
youngest son, who's 9, Dean, he's with me part time. I don't really have any one thing that I would say to her. I mean, you know, when there's anything that comes up, we communicate with each
That's
other.
good.
I think we communicate fairly well. It could be better. I've seen friends that have it a lot worse. So
For sure.
I don't think I have it terribly or anything like that. There's not really one thing I could say. We have quite different parenting styles.
Okay.
I'm more direct. And yeah, so.
Is she
I don't
more
know.
like easygoing, like, you know, just do what you want, it's okay? Is it more of like an easy flow?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've seen this in other parents too, where it's kind of like they might
Is it like good
ask
cop, bad
their
cop?
kids if they want to do everything instead of just saying, "Get your shoes on, we're going here." That's how I do it.
Yeah.
And
Okay. So yeah, I understand. And I mean, and everybody's different. I kind of I mean, I'm from a lot of blended family. We're not even going to get into that. Okay. I am from a blended family, so I had a couple different men in my life who played like a father figure role. And I've dealt with some that were very like dictator, like this is what we do, this is what we're gonna, you know. And then I've also dealt with some that were very at ease and really didn't pay me too much mind. I was just like a figment there, you know, it wasn't as important. So just speaking from that end on being a child that was in those kinds of environments, I will have to say that the dictatorship made me, now that I look back at, you know, some of that, I'm like, wow, he like really cared to show me things. You know what I mean? He really cared to teach me. He really cared like to like, no, you're not going to do this. You're going to be out here with me all day. And when you're younger, you're like, oh, I hate him. I can't stand this. Like, you're not my dad type, you know, stupid stuff that you say. But at the end of the day, and Tom is who I'm talking about. Tom was the gentleman who was more of like a dictator, and God rest his soul, because he passed away a few years ago, but I still think about him till this day when we're driving and, I'm talking and I'm like, oh, Tom showed me that, and it's just those types of things. So the
Yeah.
way you're doing it definitely isn't wrong, as
I
long as you
think
do it in a loving way.
I think one thing that I learned probably maybe about 5 years ago or so that really helped me a lot was it used to bother me a lot, the differences of how we would parent and stuff, and it would like eat at me, and I would want her to parent how I parented and stuff like that. But I think the idea of just realizing to let go, you don't have control over that, and accepting it, it just takes a lot of stress off of you, and I think the kids too. Just
For sure.
she has her way, I have my way, and we communicate, and as long as I'm not like worried about like what she's doing with them or whatever, it's her time and my time, and so I think that helps a lot.
For sure. As long as it's safe environments in both ends and they're not, losing their minds in one place or the other. Yeah, I feel you.
Really. If they were in danger, then
really
certainly there are cases where you'd want to worry about it. But in my case, it's different parenting styles mainly, and
so you have a very open and like almost an honest relationship with your previous the mothers of your children, where you can just bring something up and not feel like you have to hold back.
Yes, I would say that's correct. I don't hold back. I hope that she tells me what she needs to tell me regarding the children. So yeah.
I mean,
for sure.
Just from my previous background, I have an older son that's Joe's, and I came in when he was 3, and a lot of people don't understand, but I have a relationship with his mother. We've gone on vacation together. I've stayed at her house when we were on vacation, kind of thing. So we have a very open, I mean, her parents want to babysit my kids type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's very open. So to hear that, there's a lot of people that can't have that.
It's actually sad when they can't. It's less common. So the fact that there's more people on here that have healthy co-parenting relationships or healthy marriages, things such as that, is actually a lot less common than what we're perceiving this to be. So I don't want anyone that's watching to feel down and out if you don't have that kind of relationship, although you can work to have a working relationship when it comes to the kids. It's just a lot of time, like Brad was saying, sometimes you just have to agree to disagree and to learn to let some of those emotions go and just do what's best for the kids at the end of the day.
I feel like so much of that falls on like the foundations of all relationships in general. Like if you're the type of person who can reflect on the way that you interact with any human being, it's going to help you be better as a co-parent in any type of circumstance and situation. And honestly, it's going to help you be a better dad, a better coworker, a better everything. Like just focusing on understanding how much different parents do things different way. Like I hear Brad talking about that, and it sounds to me like Brad just gets how to have a relationship with another human being. Like that's critical. I
think sometimes too, a lot of people forget that at one point in time, that human being who is hard to talk to now was the human being that you talk to the most. So sometimes you have to like take that back to reality and say, okay, But before we kind of get off subject, I do want to ask Alex how you feel. If there was something that you would want to say to that maybe you're not heard enough, or maybe you just don't like.
My ex and I, we do not communicate well at all. And that's because, like you said, like at one point it's the person that you love the most or whatever, and have all your fantasies about, unicorns and rainbows and shit. But then life sets in, and her and I, we don't communicate about anything more than what we absolutely have to. So like my son will be coming out here, we'll communicate about that. If I could communicate something maybe to the ladies though, I wish I would have raised my kids with a woman who's way more like the woman who's my girlfriend now. My ex gave me wonderful children. Right. That's where I was going to go. My ex gave me wonderful children. But the woman I'm with now, one, she's Latin, so both of you know what that's about. Um,
So
and
she
then
chases
I
you
have
around with the
no
broom,
comment
right?
about this. First of all,
no, no,
no
no,
comment.
no. But she's it's not that she's not cool. It's that she's extremely passionate and strong while still being very feminine at the same time.
So she's
Um,
fucking crazy and she does it in heels.
right. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, she don't got to really wear heels. She could though. She's only like 4'10", but
Doesn't matter. Look how big Thea was, and she took on both our dads down.
then yeah, no. I mean, I don't fuck with her, but but my point
I don't
is
know why people always say that.
children
Because
can
okay,
definitely benefit from that kind of person in their life at no matter what point, no matter what point. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really have anything to say to my ex because yeah, but as far as my opinion goes on like like what I could say, it's just like yeah,
I do want to bring up this comment from Michelle. I think it is time that people realize instead of staying in a relationship where the kids is the thing of of the past. Parents do better if they get along, move on, and be civil parent together to the best ability. I see this in a lot of families, and I do have something to say with that because I had to say it to a lot of my friends who hate their ex that they've had children with, and they just make it. They blame it on. They take it out on the kids when they don't let the parents see the other one. You liked them for at least 5 minutes. You had at least 5 minutes with that person where you liked him enough to make a child. So you have to remember that every time you get angry with him or disagree with him. You liked him for 5 minutes. There was something for that 5 minutes that you liked.
you guys see the hierarchy when the ladies run the show, so it's just 5 minutes. Like notice that we're right under the bus immediately.
I didn't see her
I
whole
stayed
comment, but
quiet.
I
I
think
had no comments.
I think her comment was
Anything
also
else would be
about
optimistic on our part.
not staying together for the kids
Yes.
only.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
And that's what I mean by you
I
at
was
least liked him
optimistic
for
mostly.
at least 5 minutes. It took at least 5 minutes for you to get all of your clothes off and lay down on the bed and make a baby.
Loud.
So,
I don't
you
know if
know,
this fits the format, but can I ask a question to Alex?
go
Sure.
ahead. No, yes, this is the round
So,
table.
so Alex, you mentioned how like you guys the communication is not good, and then you followed that up by saying that really basically there is no communication and it happens when it needs to. Do you
Right.
think that maybe that actually is good communication between the two of you because you know what your boundaries are within that relationship? And just in line with what Michelle just wrote in the comment box, like maybe that's the best form of communication for you and her is keeping it limited and keeping it basic.
Exactly. It's healthy that we only communicate through email. That way we don't have. I know her phone number, but I don't want her to have mine. I don't use hers because text messages and this is a double fault. I can't say it's just her because it's not. But text messages even become hostile. Phone conversations it usually ends with one of us hanging up on the other one, and so the positive thing that I experience in the whole thing is that my youngest is going to be 18 in July. So they're not little children. They didn't go as little children through a divorce. Um, and in their teen years, they kind of saw before we did that. Like you guys don't work, can't stand each other. So maybe someday I can have a civil conversation with her. But like right now, I'm just like it's better if it's not one of us getting so angry that we're hanging up on the other.
I feel like you're also showing your kids a skill in that. Like you're showing them the ability to have a relationship that you know the boundaries of. Like you know your own boundaries, you know the boundaries of what the two of you are able to accomplish together, and like that you are set. I mean, it seems kind of weird, but you are setting a good example in that way because
Yeah,
you're saying this is what's acceptable.
right. You're solving a problem.
I
Bad
chuckle.
communication and doing the email solution. I think that's good.
Oh, I
I
want to
chuckle.
vote.
I
I have a
chuckle only
question.
because I was. Oh, I was worried I was
I agree with
ostriching,
Renee. So
not
I'm going to
not
read
being.
this comment to you guys really quick. Renee Beck Santiago, who also has her own show, who is an amazing friend of mine. If it makes us mad, then there is still anger and still love. Um, and that's where I kind of want to touch base on. Sometimes, even if you're not in love anymore, there's still like, if there's still like a lot of anger, sometimes there's a lot of emotions that haven't been hashed out, and doesn't necessarily have to be love. I hate, I don't want people to just think like, oh, he's mad at his ex, so he still loves her. That's not the case. Sometimes there's just some emotions that haven't been hashed out that are hard to talk about. It's reliving moments or triggers and things like that that happen. And sometimes it's hard for one or both parties to let go of that and to be able to talk civilly. I think with that being said, there's a lot more. So if you drop the emotion a lot more when having to co-parent, I feel like when you drop the emotion, even if it pisses you off and you just completely drop the emotion, or you hover it for later, like cuss in your head. You know what I mean? Like I walk away a lot of times from a lot of things and I cuss in my head. I'm walking away and it's like all profanity. If you could just see it coming out of the top of my head, like it's like that. But at the same time, it's also, it's keeping the peace. And sometimes I think everybody wants to be heard. And that's where a lot of arguments stem from, is because everybody wants their opinion to be heard. But the sooner you realize that even if you say something, it might not ever change anything, then it's usually better to keep that shut down. Express it to someone else, like a friend, and let that aggression or those feelings out to people who can, talk to you about it, and never go for advice. And I'm speaking to all of you young people, all of you first time moms and dads. Stop going for advice about your significant other or your baby mama or your baby daddy to the closest people in your life. They are going to set you up for failure. So any of these people watching who might be teen moms and dads, early 20s, stop going to your best friend and your mom and your dad and everybody else for that advice. Sometimes it's better to find somebody who's outside of the picture, like a pastor or a counselor or someone else that might give you a third party view on everything. I just have to say that for the record.
That's good advice. And I think another point to make is that in any conflict between two parties, there's like sort of my reality and there's the person's reality who's conflicting with me, I guess. And there's also like the actual reality, right? Besides both of our perceptions. And so there's always a good thing about getting a third party that's not close coupled to
that doesn't give a shit about either of you. So they're going to tell you the truth.
and that's
called counseling.
Conflict in general. But when you bring up like your children, the two
Yeah.
people in this conflict, in that case, very much love and, it's visceral. They very much care about the thing that they have a conflict about. And so in a parenting situation, conflicts can be much more
I agree.
aggressive and stuff like that. And so to your point too, sometimes the best solution is to walk away, gather your thoughts, maybe get an outside perspective, and then come back with a clear head.
Yes,
and
I do
sometimes,
agree.
you might, like, sometimes when I've had conversations with any of my children's whatever, right? I'm not trying to incriminate myself in the worst way, but sometimes in my mind, even as I walk away, I'm like, you know what? This was why I left. This was why I left. So I have to understand that this is the kind of conversation that I will always have with this person, because this is the maturity level of this person when it comes to an emotional maturity, because it's different. You mature differently physically, you mature different maturity wise, and even emotionally wise. So sometimes it's best to know, like, okay, this is who they are. And sometimes you have to just accept the ugly of who people are sometimes in order to get that flow going, to where if you know that they're going to lash out at you if you say something, then you write it in an email, or you say, you know what, I just want to speak to you, and if you get upset, I'll understand, we can talk about it later, but I do need to tell you this. So just kind of learning how to communicate just a little bit better is always key. But before we just stay talking about communication and bad parts of parenting, I want to know, what is the best thing about being a dad and being an active dad? We'll go with Brad first. Come on, Brad.
And
Put
I
I
was
want
gonna
to
say,
add to
like,
that.
don't you guys hang us? Like,
I want to add to that. What is the one thing also that you want to portray to your children about being a dad?
Okay. So a good thing about being a dad, I don't know. I just like watching my kids grow and their accomplishments, being proud of certain things that they do or what they get interested in. Obviously, they have my DNA, and so it's likely that they are going to come to like the same things or similar things that I do. My son Theo's at an age where he's like dabbling in a lot of different stuff. So he's recently gotten interested in like science and physics and stuff like that, and math, and I thought that was cool. He also loves playing video games, which I don't so much, but that's okay. But I've tried it with him and stuff like that. We played a couple games on PlayStation together and stuff, and so that's fun. I guess the happiest times of being a dad are probably like when it's summer, we're out hiking or something like that, doing something fun. Yeah, but I just like just seeing him grow and seeing, it's like a unfinished book kind of thing. It's like where are they going to go next? What's the next chapter and stuff like that. So
you guys do have those moments where you're like, oh, I actually love that little ass. Like I love that person.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like because they're such little jerks sometimes. You're like always trying to dictate stuff, and then every now and then you get that one moment where you're like, oh, I really do love that person right there.
Yeah. And another thing too is like I don't know, just being intrigued by the questions that they ask sometimes. Where now that I'm older, I don't think in the way of a younger mind, and so I wouldn't think to ask certain questions and stuff like that. And so sometimes younger people can bring up concepts that I wouldn't conceive of anymore because I'm in a more developed stage of my life, I guess you could say. Mentally.
For sure. That's awesome. Yeah. That's really awesome. I'm actually going to take this hot seat over to Alex this time, and we're going to go this way. So what is the best part about being a dad, Alex, and what you hope to show to your children, right? That was yours.
That's a hard question. What the best part about being a dad is? It's like asking me who my favorite Beatle is. Like the best answer I have is not Ringo. I guess maybe the there's a sense of perpetuation of my characteristics and the characteristics that I appreciate of my parents and this individual that for better and sometimes for far worse I have molded the mind of and probably been the most influential person in this person's life in particular. I always thought it was really cool to see characteristics that are my own in my children who are now almost both adults. And
wow.
Yeah, and so that's like the best part.
I hate seeing myself in my kids. I'm like, don't do that.
Oh no, I dig it. I'm like, oh, you're petty. I'm petty too.
I like the best story with Ariana where she comes running out of the bathroom with a diaper over her head and your in-laws were over and you're like, oh God, I taught her and that's totally me.
Yeah. It's been a while since I've done the diaper head things, but what it was they used to wear the little swimming diapers and stuff, and they've got a lot of elastic in them, and so I would put those on my head to make them laugh, and then they started doing it too. It's again, for better or for worse, you are the sole influence on that individual.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's actually an awesome way to think about it. So I'm going to take the hot seat now to Tom and see what's the best part of parenting for you?
I would have thought that getting to go third this time would actually be a blessing, but it's more of a curse because I'm just thinking of more and more stuff that these guys are bringing up, and it's valid points. But I guess the best thing it's kind of tricky because honestly, we're all humans, and selfishly, the best thing is the joy that I get out of it. So, like, it's almost like you're in a way you're using these little humans to find joy for you. But my favorite thing about it is those moments where all of a sudden, just for a second, you pause and you put yourself back at that age, and you
Oh yeah.
remember little memories that you have of like how you felt in those moments at that age, and then you kind of like look for that in them. Like, am I creating the right environment? Am I creating a situation where they can have this memory so that when they're 38 years old, they're going to remember back to when they were 7 and when they were 10 and like really
Oh my
feel
God,
that
you
joy?
sound so much like me. Everybody thinks that I'm like this really mushy person because I tell people that all the time. Like, I want to know how they're feeling. Like, I remember certain things that like they either polish you or they taint you at certain
Yep.
ages, you know?
Yeah. Well,
That's
Missy
very
asked me
true.
what was going to be like the thing to like indicate me or whatever. She asked me for like a tagline, and Mr. Rogers is my hero in life. So like, I'm all mushy in emotions all the time. My students at my school have seen me cry like 100,000 times.
Dealing with kids, you probably
You've
do cry. I
always
would
been that.
probably cry.
As long
My
as I've
kids
known
make
you,
me cry.
you've always been that nice, genuinely nice guy. Like if you needed to
Thank you.
talk to somebody, Tom was the person to talk to. He was generally just a nice guy. Like
Thank you.
So
I
you were
appreciate
meant to be a principal. That's what she's saying. You were definitely meant to be a principal. That's awesome. So I do have like another question, and anybody can chime in on this one. When you see children with non-active dads, what does that do to you? How does that make you feel?
Like in the moment, or just
Like in the moment, let's say you're at a game and you know your child's doing something or you're doing something out, Sky Zone, whatever it is that you do. And you see that you have that moment where you see a child doesn't have that, or you know a child of your kid's friends that doesn't have that. Like, what does that make you feel like as a dad? And I'm sure that you get a lot of that, Tom, being in a school environment. So I'm going to actually go ahead and ask Alex or whoever wants to chime in. Anybody can go ahead and chime in first. That's fine.
I there's a bit of relatability for me. When I was about 5 years old, my parents got divorced. Um, and I don't want to say that anything that's embarrassing to him about it, but my dad was for a minute it was hard to hold his attention. Um, and I always felt almost like we were competing for his love, but I think it was mostly because we didn't understand him, and they had a really fractured relationship with their dad, who kind of had left them in a really financial destitute position when they were kids. In fact, Missy and I are cousins, and our fathers are brothers. And when they were kids, they lived on the very south end of Racine in a one-bedroom house. And so I think that having experienced that made um, it hard for my dad to really know what being a good dad was because he didn't have the example. Um, he was pretty bad, and he did everything he could, but
I
um,
think he was
yeah,
when he
it's
had yeah,
rough.
they
It's rough because
our
I get
father
it.
our father started up with nothing.
Yeah.
They were migrant workers and they have moved and accomplished so much. Both our dads have accomplished a lot in their lives. And his
So
dad
can
was
I ask really quick? You said migrant workers. So your dad's side is the Latino side?
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were they cherry pickers?
Um, my
Um
my grandpa. Um, the
I
thing
come
was
from a
is
long
even
line of
even like
cherry pickers, y'all. Okay, this is why I'm saying
he
this,
had
not to
he
be
had
funny.
he had a decent job, but he was also an alcoholic, and he had
And
left
that's
my
a problem that
grandmother
runs in a lot of Hispanic households.
for
It's like
sure, for sure.
an unspoken issue
Yeah,
that runs
yeah.
in a lot of Hispanic households for sure.
As you can see, I'm kind of tiptoeing around it because, like, growing up in
are we
that
talking
Latin
about Grandpa
environment, you
Money?
just don't talk about that kind of shit. But
Are you talking
Yeah.
about Grandpa Money? Grandpa Big Money?
yeah, yeah. So
Oh,
so
okay.
they
Okay.
got divorced when our parents were young, and he started another family with another woman, and that was his focus. And so he gave our dads and our aunt up for adoption, and that's why our last name was Ramos instead of Rodriguez. So our grandfather's last name was Rodriguez, but because he gave up the parental rights when our parents were kids and they got adopted by their stepdad, we became Ramos. I mean, they kept it a Mexican name. Thank God I wasn't like Alex Crenzis growing up. But
And let me just say this. I did my research before I started dating my husband. We're not related. I
All
called
right.
my aunt and I was like, here's his mom, here's his aunt, here's his grandparents, here's his dad, here's and she goes, no, okay, I gotta go, gotta do my hair. I'm going on a date. Bye.
your own little bajo in the back of the trailer park.
Yeah. So
So I guess it kind of it brings back like a trigger a little bit for you then, Alex, of when you see a kid that kind of doesn't have.
But I'm not. I mean, I don't want to like throw my dad under the bus and say like he wasn't there. He was there a lot, and as much as he could be and still have other difficult elements of his life to tend to. And I get it because I myself am now a guy in a relationship post a marriage, but I had to. You've got to put in the time for any relationship to work, and communication, and if you're going to have a successful romantic relationship, you have to show the other person that you are invested in their feelings and their time and their desires, and it makes it hard to be accessible to both situations sometimes.
and this is to all the guys. When you are looking for a relationship or you are meeting people, what is your guidelines or your how you feel about appropriate of bringing a new person into their life? Now I just want to I when I met Joe, I knew he had a 3-year-old. I had always said I was never going to date a guy that had a kid. But the fact that he did have a kid, and I just knew something was special about him, that I was going to marry him from the get-go. I knew. And because of other people's situations around me and not getting along with their step parents and having such issues with them, and their step parents not accepting them, family and friends, I had made a pact that I was going to accept their children, and I was going to do whatever I had to show that child they could trust me. What do you look for? What is something that your requirements to meet your children?
Gentlemen, please, because
Oh, okay. I mean,
my
think
answers for this are
general,
not great.
I don't know. I think in general, it must be like a kind person. Just not crazy, I guess, would be a criteria.
I mean, I can say, like, I can speak on it too with you, like, just to kind of chime in, because I know that Tom is married, so this one doesn't necessarily pertain to him. But like for me, my thing is more like you have to know that my kids come first. Like, I don't care whether we have a date planned. I don't care whether we're doing anything or whatever. Like, my kids come first. Now, I also know that there's like a borderline between that also. So with that being said, is my kids always come first, but I also don't have like bratty kids that do shit on purpose to try to like to try to like mess things up, because that happens too. Kids act out, and then that becomes issues and stuff like that. I also think, like, for me, when the whole dating thing and having kids and stuff, it was more important for me to not only let that person know that my kids come first, but to also let them know, like, me and you are going to date without the kids being involved for a while before I invite you into that part of me, because that part of me is like my sacred circle, and then when I invite you into that, it's almost like initiation, like you're part of the family then. So then I also expect you to act like you're part of the family, which means that there's certain guidelines. Like, yes, you can discipline. There's certain ways you can still discipline. You can still act like you're an active father, even though you're not biologically that father, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's taking the opportunity to make sure that their values align with your values. I mean, realistically, that's ultimately what you're talking about right there. Is you're
She said,
you
"Have you
let them
ever
in.
capped anybody?" I'm sorry, I was reading that.
I was
Yes,
Literally
I know.
everybody I've ever met. CCAP all of you before we
For the
start.
record, I do that with just
I
friends.
did. I
With
capped
friends.
everybody.
If I meet a new person, your ass is getting C-capped. If you want to know about anything about anyone, ask me. Give me their name and just one other thing about them. In a week, I'll have all the information you need. I should be the CIA.
My middle name is Joaquin Euphrates.
But yeah,
So
I
you
get
can,
what you're saying,
because
Tom.
if
It
you
is
just
the
put in my
ideal
name,
situation to do that. I do feel like when it goes wrong, so me growing up, like there was never that waiting period for me to meet the new guy. You know what I mean? Like I met the new guy on the first date. The new guy was coming over. So like when I was growing up, I saw a lot of that, and I didn't want to do that even with my dad. Like, you guys saying that your dad's kind of more active. I'm going to keep it real, and my dad's probably watching. Hey, I'm going to talk about you now. So he was not active in my life growing up. He was like 9 years younger than my mom, and when he had me, he was a very young dad. No excuse, pops. Okay, but he was a very young dad, and he had a lot of lady callers. So my dad was like this bachelor guy all the way up until I was like 15. Okay. So my dad was like this huge bachelor. I would come over to his house. There would be different women sometimes. Like he was like that dad that sometimes I would come over. So, even though he wasn't necessarily active until I grew up a little bit more, some of the things that he even did, even on one visit every 6 months or every year and a half, like there were certain things that he said to me that like stayed within me, even as like a young woman. Like I saw a lot of women come and go with him. So his thing for me was like never be one of these women. And growing up, you know what I mean, as like my friends started to dibble and dabble and in different things, I always kept that true to my heart. Like I never want to be someone that just comes over to someone's house for that night because they met me at the bar. I never want to. So like little things that he's still not saying that it's wrong. If any of you ladies do, it's a free for all. Go ahead, keep your free will however it is you choose.
we're consenting adults.
Personally. But yeah, so it's like just little things. My whole point of this is saying, like, even if you are minimally active, little parts that you choose to be active with in your child's life will stick. It'll stick. And as I got older, me and my dad's relationship became like this huge friendship, and I like talk to him almost every day. And I talk to him as, I mean, I know he's my dad, but he's also like my confidant and my friend now, so we kind of grew into having a really good friendship, even though he wasn't active. So with that being said, for any of you dads who aren't active, it's not really ever too late to try to gain somewhat of a relationship,
I had married parents. They have been together since they've been 14.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
young.
they went through it all. Anytime I
I
would
will
have,
kick my kid's ass if they get married at 14.
they didn't get married at 14.
No, they were
They've
married.
been together. They weren't married till they were 25. No, 21. Till they were
No
21. And then they
relationships
had
are
me at
young.
25.
I
But
have a
like
15-year-old, y'all, and it's a boy, and I know I don't want him. I'm like,
I
stay away
I
from the
grew
boys.
up thinking that's what you do. You find somebody at 15. I thought I had found somebody at 15. Shut up, Alex.
It wasn't
But
me. I didn't say nothing. That'd be gross.
no, you know what I mean.
There's no banjos and Arteano band.
And I thought I was going to marry this boy. This was going to be it. And then I got my heart broken because that happened to my parents. Why wouldn't it happen to me? My dad also, he was physically there, but my dad's not an emotional person.
Is he emotional now?
More now, yes.
My
With the
dad is so
grandkids.
emotional now.
But
Let me just tell you, he is so, as you guys get older, y'all get soft, man. Okay?
Yeah.
Let me just say
Yeah.
this. Now, Tom, you're already a mushy one right now. So I'm
You're just going to be Play-Doh by the time you get to like 60.
It's gonna be
Because
trouble.
my dad is like, he's not the same dad. So he did have another kid after me, and we're like 15 and a half years apart, and the dad she grew up with, because he actually solely raised her. So he went from not being active in my life at all to like completely raising my little sister, right? And she didn't have her mom active in her life at all. So it was like the flip flop. And I used to always tell her, like, the dad that like, I don't know that guy. Like, I don't know like who that is.
That's okay,
I
Alex.
don't know who that is.
Just
He's
the
so
other day,
messy.
Say
Apa,
again?
my dad. I said just the other day,
Yeah.
Apa, my dad, brought a fucking big wheel from the backyard and let the kids ride it in the house. Like, but my dad now but I was always his princess. I
Yeah,
was born
but
his princess. I still
you
am his princess, but now he is more emotionally available. What do you
you
think?
never figured out though that with your dad, if you make him laugh, you're not in trouble. So, oh, lost one of the dudes. Um, so like that picture just resurfaced of when we hung your troll doll from
All right,
the
I'll share
ceiling
the
fan,
screen. I'll put it up. Give me a minute.
and yeah, I just got sent that picture again, and your dad laughed, so we didn't get in trouble.
Because my dad did it.
No, he was a part of it. He just laughed. He went
So
and
I
he
have
saw
a
it,
quick
he
question.
laughed, and he
I
walked away.
actually have a really quick question for Tom, because Tom, you didn't really get to answer this for me, and I would really like for the viewers to hear your opinion on how it feels being like a principal and seeing some of these kids not have active dads or moms, but really dads is what we're talking about. Like, what does that do to you? Is this when you cry, or is this?
Oh, one of the many times, yeah. That this is one of the many situations that brings that out of me a lot. Honestly, like, there's no point in being anything but straight about it. Originally, right off the bat, it pisses me off massively.
Yeah.
Like, I get very judgmental. I get very aggressive. Not like verbally or physically.
Protective.
Like, I don't go at people, but yeah, I get protective, and so my initial response is to like try and fill some void or something like that. And but I also then I seek to understand. Like, that's a goal for me in every circumstance is to try and understand, because not every single circumstance that looks like absenteeism or some gap in parenting skills, or sometimes it's just a difference in approach. And like, I think back to the way that, like, everybody's talking about how their dads were. I didn't see my dad cry until his father died when I was 13 years old. Never once did I see him shed a tear. But from that day on, things changed. Like, that was when my dad started to soften. That was when I started to see him be different. And I think back on the way that my dad raised me. I'm way softer on my kids now than my dad was when we were at their age. But I wouldn't say that he did it right, or that I did it right, or that
Yeah.
anybody did it wrong.
It was
So,
a different
like, the
day and
only
age
thing,
too, right?
oh, absolutely, absolutely. And honestly, I think when people know better, they do better as well. Like, I say that all the time. Well, the thing I say the most is to slow down and communicate, and that's what I try and do with when I'm understanding other parents. That was actually kind of a creepy picture.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was a
So
little creepy. Like, I don't know
I don't
what
know.
we were
bring it
looking
up,
at.
bring it up, bring it, Missy, and
This is
I'll
what
I'll
Alex did to
break it down.
me on a daily
So
basis. This was my doll growing up, and he put
Alex.
rubber band, or he put balloons on the feet. And this was my doll that my dad had gotten me when I was born, and it was my pillow.
What does the note
And it
say?
I can't even lie to you, Missy. I can't lie to you. Like, I was such a rough and tough girl back in the day. I probably would have been like, I made my girl cousins eat sand. I used to like do stuff like this. Like, I was like the whole makeup
Latin
and hair
women.
thing. Like, that was not me. Like, that was not me. So I probably would have been just. Were you always girly? Was that
I
why,
was
like,
always
for
girly.
you?
I was
That's
the girliest. The sooner I could put on tights and high heels shoes and everything,
Were
that
you
was me.
always girly? Who Rapunzel? Was Rapunzel always girly? The victim
I
always
didn't
in the
ask
tower?
that because I wasn't. I was playing like tackle football outside with like the guys from the neighborhood, the boys from the neighborhood, like getting cut up by fences and trying to hide it so I wouldn't get in trouble. Like Like that was like who I was. So I kind of like I was like my dad's best girl son. Like I was just like this really rough girl. And now like as I got older, of course I became like a lot more girly and stuff like that. But I'll still go outside and play football.
Now that I have all these boys, I do. But like, yeah, this was.
That's why God gave you all those boys. That's why I have all girls, because they were like, Elaine, you got to be a little softer. You got to soften up a little bit, and I have one son, so I still kind of have like my edge a little bit where I'm like, if you want to square up outside anytime, I'm ready. I make my girls put on boxing gloves, guys. Okay. I'm like, oh, we have a disagreement. Let's go get the boxing gloves from the girl.
Yeah, like we're just trying to pick what kind of ice cream we're gonna have.
Oh my God. I know, right? It's so bad. But it's like also because I'm like, you're gonna learn to defend yourself. So I'm like, you're gonna put these boxing gloves on and I'm just gonna teach you a few 1-2s and then you'll be at least safe enough to get away from anything.
I'm gonna tell you a story about where that backfired on me, and then I'll like, guys, if you have a story where something backfired on you, please by all means. My daughter, I wanted her to know how to defend herself. So fairly young, at about 4 or 5 years old, I taught her how to throw a punch, and I'm not talking about just any punch. Like she could throw a jab and a hook, no problem. Well, she was at the park about 5 years old and wanted to ride another little girl's bike, and the little girl said no. So Ari hit her with a right cross and knocked her right off the bike, and then took her bike from her. So that.
Were you watching this?
No, the mother of the other girl came to my house to tell me it had happened. I had no clue.
Oh.
I was very embarrassed.
I wouldn't have been embarrassed. I would have been like, "Good job, baby."
Oh man, and she went from being this ruffian who always had dirt all over her face and stuff to like she's like super beautiful now and whatnot, model pretty, and so. But that totally blew up in my face.
Michelle is saying, Tom, referring back to what Tom's experiences with school kids, that, her husband's never around because he works 60 hours a week, which happens, when dads are the providers too. But I also think that kids, they talk a lot. Kids express themselves a lot when they're at school with their teachers, with their counselors, their peers. And I know for a fact, because I'm a youth advocate too. They will tell you like, oh yeah, no, my dad's around. He's just at work all the time, So I don't necessarily think that they probably feel that you're single. But when kids don't have an active dad, not only you can almost like, it's almost like you can see it through their soul when certain stuff happens or when someone's not there to cheer them on. And working 60 hours a week is a lot. That's a lot of work, But with that being said too, sometimes, I used to always I always worked a lot. So being a single mom, I used to work like 55, 60 hours a week. And every now and then I had to tell I used to just have to tell my employer, like, dude, I can't miss this. You know what I mean? Like it's cool and all for grandma to be there for them, and I was missing it because I was working and I was the sole provider and I was trying to do everything on my own. But sometimes I had to be like, you know what, I have to I'm going to miss 10 hours this week, or I'm going to miss 5 hours this week. And I feel like those moments sometimes are more important than anything else. If I have to cut off the phone for a while, if I have to cut off the cable or whatever it is, I'm very much an experience and memory type of person. Like I feel like memories will keep you close forever. Memories will keep them always wanting to come back. Memories. So, to answer your question, I'm pretty sure people don't think you're single. I'm sure your kids, say, hey, my mom is the one that comes because my dad's always working. And that might be something they're very proud of. They're probably very proud that their dad works all the time to help take care of everything.
And two things about that. One is like, if you ask a little kid what they want for Christmas, none of them are going to say more time with my parents. But if you ask an adult what they wish they could go back and give themselves for Christmas, almost all of them would have said more time with my parents. So like to point out what you're talking about, you can't put a dollar amount on that that interaction with your kids. And in all honesty, that's that second level that I get to in all these situations. So you asked about like what the interpretation is or what you see when you see that absenteeism. I get that initial feeling. I seek to understand. I try to understand, not just to understand their situation, but what my role really should be in that circumstance. But then it always ends in me reflecting on like, how can I make this be something about my relationship with my kids? Am I missing opportunities? Am I leaving my kids in this lurch here? And in all honesty, that's part of the reason why I switched from the job I was in to the job I'm in now. Was I was looking for a better work-life balance. It's tricky with the travel increasing, and I don't always do a great job of getting home. I mean, tonight I didn't get home until 6:45, something like that. So, I'm not great about it, and that's part of that thing. First question, like, where my wife gives me a lot of grace and trying to do things that I see best and just trusting me. But man, just being able to be emotionally and physically present for your kids, that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree. And Missy can tell you firsthand. Sometimes she's like, Helene, I've been calling you all day. And I'm like, I put my phone on silent. I put my phone on silent because either I was working or I was trying to spend some time with the kids. Because I'm like, I'm a memory type of person. Everybody laughs because I do traditions for almost every holiday. But I also feel like what you were saying, Alex, too, like seeing those things inside of your kids. Like, I can't wait for the day. Well, I can wait. I tell them to wait until I'm at least 55 to give me grandkids, which is a lie. It's never going to happen. But,
Good luck.
yeah, no, because I had my son at 18. So, yeah, he'll definitely make me a grandma. Mid 40s, I'm hoping. It's like later on in life. I tell him to marry young. I'm like, you know what? Wait till you're older and then just marry younger.
I met my dad a grandfather at the exact age I'm at now, so I'm in the black at this point.
Well, so I'm actually, oh my God. So I'm actually at the point where I kind of like, I always try to have like a tradition for everything. Like I'll give you guys one of my traditions since it's coming up. So Christmas Eve, we have a tradition where they get to open one gift, and they always know what the one gift is because the one gift is a pair of pajamas, a movie, and hot cocoa. And what we do is, and there's a twist to this. What we do is every Christmas Eve around 6:30, after we eat dinner, they get to open this up, and everybody goes and puts on their pajamas. I make homemade hot chocolate, along with the hot chocolate that they get to, open up. And then we get in the car and we go drive around in our pajamas looking at Christmas lights every single year. We do go to Yogi Bear Park and all of those other things too. And then we come home, we watch a movie as adults and kids, everybody watches a movie and then they go to sleep, and Santa's elves work overtime to make sure all the gifts get underneath the tree.
We actually, I'm sorry to keep dropping out, by the way, but yeah, we went to Jellystone Park this year too. It was pretty awesome. The light show that they have. You tuned into the radio station and stuff, right?
Yeah, I do. We dance. Like I open the moonroof and we're like standing up and dancing. Like we go all out. Like we really do. You would think that we're drunk, but we're like really hopped up on cocoa. And so, but what's really good about that is actually, since everybody gets a new pair of pajamas when they wake up in the morning to open gifts on Christmas Day, and you're taking all these pictures and videos, they all look fucking cute. So it's not like one's mixed match, like where one has like a Star Wars and then the bottom is like Yogi Bear, or you know what I mean? So like everybody looks put together. So that's like the twist on it. So it's actually like a win-win,
Kids still have Yogi Bear pajamas?
Well, no, actually no, but it's like my son would probably come out with like basketball shorts and no t-shirt, and then one of my daughters would probably have like, a pair of like pink colored, pajama pants, and then like a bright red shirt, because they never match their pajamas just for the hell of it. So it's like I give
Mine
them
would come all in chonas. They would all be in chonas.
It's a win-win. I think my point of that is too, is like I have a 15, a 13, 12, and a 2-year-old. Obviously this is like the exciting part for the 2-year-old this year. We're all excited for her to like open her gifts and do all that fun stuff. So we're going like extra hard for her. But what's really sweet is the moments when I'm like sitting on the couch and my 15-year-old comes and is like, "Hey mom, we're still going to Yogi Bear this weekend, right? I mean this Christmas, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like, did you get us pajamas yet?" And then my daughter chimes in like, "Yeah, mom, are we matching pajamas this time?" And I'm like, "Y'all can't know what kind of pajamas I got you. All you know is that you're getting some on Christmas Eve." And then it's like we're picking out movies now. Like, "Mama, what movie do you think we should watch? Like, should we save a movie off of Netflix and not watch it?" So we picked Christmas Chronicles 2, the second one. So we haven't watched it yet, and we've been waiting to watch it. So it's just those kinds of things. They're all teenagers. They're getting older. They hate to be seen with me in public, but they still look forward to doing the Christmas tradition every year. And I plan on them doing that through college.
I wish I had a little kid like you do. I wish I still had, because I just thought of
I can drop one off.
yeah, but I don't know if I can do this with him though. But I thought of the ultimate Christmas scam. Um, if I would have thought about this when I was younger, I could have bought whatever bass I wanted to play for the rest of my life and put it under the tree and wrap it from Santa to me. She'd have had it gone with it, man. Should have ruined Christmas for everybody. Should have had just
Oh
been
my
like,
gosh.
"Yep, Santa brought that."
I bought my 2-year-old a drum set.
This is why I'm divorced.
I bought her a drum set. I'm like, I come from a musically inclined family, and I'm like, I bought her a drum set, and then I couldn't even pass it up because I found a microphone too that you can connect to MP3. So like, I could just see us on Christmas Day. We're gonna be like jamming it out and singing, and I sing loudly in the stores when I grocery shop. I embarrass everybody. I'm just like that. I'm that person.
My kids told me I'm not allowed to dance anymore in the house because the neighbors might see.
Girl,
Because
I
I
dance at Walmart.
do dance
Okay.
parties.
I dance at Walmart. Some of the Walmart employees were laughing at me the other day. I didn't know anybody was watching, but I was doing it was Michael Jackson that came on. It was the Jackson 5 Christmas
We
songs. And everybody
are
might dance to that.
a great conversation as we're having. We are running over 18
Yes.
minutes.
Oh,
So we are going to have to call it a night.
I'm so sad Brad isn't here to be able to say goodbye, but we do want to give a special thanks to Brad. And
Yeah.
even with all your technical difficulties, it was a lot of fun talking to you.
He said that this is the fourth time. He's really sorry, but he's just going to call it because
Yeah.
he can't get
That's okay. And I do want to say, Alex, it was a pleasure talking to you too and getting your perspective on, your co-parenting relationship and things like that. And it was actually really
thanks.
awesome, Tom, to see that you guys have like a very solid foundation for the kids. And I really, really hope that that leaks off onto the kids also.
Thank you.
So yeah, thank you guys. And Missy,
Yeah,
you've
thank you
looked
for having
really
us on.
cute the entire time.
Thank you. I actually had a wardrobe malfunction right before this show started. And I
Oh, you were wearing white, weren't you?
yes.
Oh, okay.
My soda exploded, so I had to find something.
Oh, all right.
I went with the black t-shirt, but before we go, actually, I would just like to say this. My teenage daughters have their own business. It is called Charming Scents. You can find them like scents like you smell, Charming Scents. You can actually find them on Facebook, and they're actually going to just come on here and just say just a couple things. They're really nervous, and I kind of put them on the spot. But I do that best because I feel like it builds character. So here they come.
Oh, I'm going to bring the
I'm going to
guys
introduce Aubrey and Siani. So go ahead. Say your name and your age, please. Hi. My name is Siani.
Wait, hold on.
Oh, there you go. Hi, my name is Aubrey. I'm 12 years old. My name is Siani. I'm 13 years old. We're the Charming Sense owners. We sell a lot of different things. We sell lotions, face oils, bath bombs. We also giving out bath sets like Christmas sets where it comes like with soap saver, a bath bomb, and a body butter for $12. Check out our Facebook page. They're Charming Scents, and this is their first business. So we have a 12 and 13-year-old, and they are my daughters. So definitely please check out their Facebook page called Charming Scents. And it's scents like smell. Can you guys tell them what your signature scent is? Lavender. Have mint. So they have mint, lavender. What are some of the other scents that you guys have?
Miss Me Melon, Sweet Nilla, Lots of Love.
And can you guys tell us a little bit about the facial spray that people can buy? What is that with?
It has vitamin E oil in it and aloe water, and it comes with like 6 facial scents. Yeah.
All right, ladies. Well, thank you guys so much. Definitely check out Charming Scents. I am going to thank Missy for letting them market on Life Uncensored as well as Let's Talk. So please make sure that you go and like Life Uncensored's page as well as Let's Talk with lovely Elaine. And Missy, are you still there?
I am still here, but I was going to just let you close it out.
Okay, all right. Well, then I will let the girls close it out. Definitely make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Have a good night. You too.